Hello and welcome to my bench. My name is Garrett, and this is my second episode in my monthly series going over what is on my bench and what I'm currently working on. The first item I want to talk about here is this hammer I made. The whole purpose of this hammer was to learn how to do this overlay process here. I went into much more detail in last month's video on how I actually did the overlay, but the basic concept is you take a bladed tool and you cut a crosshatch pattern into the base material. In this case, this is 1045 steel, and you can then take very fine pieces of precious metal and press that into that crosshatch pattern. This is fine silver I used. And once you take that very delicate piece of metal and press into that crosshatch pattern, it gets mechanically locked in place. You can then go in and do some texturing to bring out details. And overall, this has been a very enjoyable process to learn. I will definitely be putting this into use on future projects, some very soon. But I also made the hammer handle here fancy to match the hammer head. This is just an octagonalized handle, halfway charred. This is mainly a decorative feature. I don't like when hammer handles look dirty, so if you make it black, you can't see handprints on it. But I really enjoy the kind of juxtaposition of the kind of brute force tool that a hammer is and making it very elegant and fancy. So this has been a very enjoyable process to make. I did have some kind of hurdles I had to overcome with this. One was how to heat treat both of the faces, because once this was in place, I didn't want to heat up the whole hammer head and quench it. I figured the silver would just pop off. So what I did was I submerged, so like if I was heat treating this face here, I submerged the whole hammerhead up to about there in water, and I took my oxypropane torch and torched just the face and submerged the whole thing in water. And I did the same thing with the peen end over here, so just heated it up and submerged the whole hammerhead in water. So really, only from about there over and there over is hardened. The rest of this is soft. But this isn't going to be a very heavy use hammer. I will get a lot of use out of this. This will live on my jeweler's bench and kind of be like the heavy hammer on my jeweler's bench. But I'm really happy with how this turned out. This has been a very fun project. It kind of pushed my skills that I don't normally use that often, as well as learning some new skills along the way. The next project I want to talk about are these cups here. So these cups are born out of a joke I heard back in college, which is if you take root beer and you put it into a square glass, you're just drinking beer. The joke being if you take the root of beer and you square the root, you're left over with beer. It's a joke. I have found that joke hilarious for years. Not many other people do, but that's okay. It's my sense of humor. But these cups turned out overall pretty well, especially for my skill level and the fact that I haven't blown glass in 2 years. And this is the first time I've done the cold shop work at all. So it's kind of a learning curve there. The general concept is you take a gather glass and the end of a blow pipe, you drop that bubble into the mold, inflate that bubble, and the glass takes the shape of the mold. I then took these into the cold shop. I cut off the tops with a diamond saw and then lapped the surface flat, and some of the bottoms weren't flat, so I lapped those as well. Most of these have flaws. This one's the best, even though it has a small crack in it. All the other ones, they're either too thick, deflated the bubble during the blowing process. That one has a bubble on the side that's slowly cracking off, so I don't want to drink glass, so I won't drink out of that one. But like I said, for where I'm at in my glass blowing journey, I couldn't be happier. These were so much fun to make, so much fun to accomplish my joke that I've been chuckling about for a long time. And I think in September, I'll be doing some more glass blowing. So I'll probably blow a couple more of these just to try to get one glass that I'm 100% happy with before moving on to trying some other shapes. The last project I want to talk about is the skill I'm currently trying to learn, which is enameling. Enameling is where you take a powdered glass, you put it over the surface of a metal, and then you take that entire piece, place it into a kiln, and you melt and fuse the glass onto the surface of the metal, which creates a decorative surface. In this case, I have some white glass or white enamel, and you can see that's what it looks like when it's fired. I'm still trying to figure out all the details. Why I want to learn this is enameling can get very complicated and very cool, but also I want to put this on a knife handle down the line. This is a folding knife I made a few years ago, but I want to have this section that's wood to have the white enamel with some straight flutes going down the handle. And then this part up here that is bronze, I'm actually going to do this overlay technique onto that surface there. So it would have the silver and black, maybe some gold accents up here, and then that white enamel with those straight flutes going down the handle. This is kind of how people describe working with carbon fiber, where there's just a lot of black magic in it. I started off with steel. Steel is a little bit lighter than copper, as well as being way cheaper. So I was gonna do steel at first, but as you can see, the enamel does not play well as steel. So that was a learning curve. I ended up calling Thompson Enamel, which is the company I got the enamel, the powdered enamel from, and talked to one of the techs there. They were fantastic, answered all my questions. A lot of my questions, I'm sure, were very basic and uninformed, but they sat on the phone with me and answered every question I had. So then I tried some copper, and I got way better results. You can see here, there's all these black dots in this one, and this one, they're almost actually like craters. So what I was informed was that this enamel, and the way I'm doing it, isn't meant for steel. Even though on Rio Grande, it says that this can work on low carbon steel, it's like a very specific carbon content and just overall not the right application. So copper is the way I'm gonna go. This is the last piece I tried. You can see in there, there's still some little bubbles, but I just think I need to leave the enamel in the kiln a little bit longer, and that glass should just fuse and turn into a very nice smooth surface. Once I figure out how to do the actual enamel portion of it, I'm gonna start working on the 3D texture. So I'll take another piece like this, I'll dome the outsides, I'll put a flute down the center of it, probably, maybe even a couple, and start learning out how to get that enamel to flow all the way down to the corners down here, as well as covering that flute without filling in the valleys that'll be on either side of the flute. This is, I think, gonna take me quite a while to figure out how to do. I think it's gonna take me most of this month, if not the following month. But what I'll be doing is, once I figure out how to do the enamel, I'll create a little test piece, a little bit bigger than this, probably about 2 of these squares next to each other, and it will be the same shape, thickness, and the fluting that I want on the actual handle for the knife. And then, so that'll be on one side. On the other side, I'll create a piece with the overlay on it, and I'll carry that practice piece around in my pocket for probably 6 months to a year before I actually start working on the knife. That way I can see if there's any issues with how the enamel holds up in my pocket or the overlay, and it'll just it'll give me more confidence before I spend all the time to make an actual knife handle out of this. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me and listening to me go over the projects I'm currently working on, and I will see you again next month.